What's going on? Welcome to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it so much. This video is going to have the games coming to retail the week of April 7th. There are 4 games that I found exact dates for, and I'm excited to talk to you about them. Specifically, one of these games is a theme that I think is really interesting. I'm actually a really big horror fan when it comes to like scary movies and video games and such, and I like it when it's done well in a board game. And that's something I really enjoy. So seeing these new horror games coming out or like themed over horror genres, the games themed over horror is really interesting, especially when they're reaching out to new IPs. You're going to see the game, it's going to be the first one we talk about. Keep in mind, I'm covering the games coming to retail in the US. Last thing, keep in mind, if a game's release date changes, I'll make sure to update about that change in a respective video. One quick thing before we continue the video, I don't do Kickstarter coverage, and I have been emailed and asked to cover Kickstarter games weekly or even like bi-weekly. However, I'm sticking more on the retail side of things because we have a lot of great content creators covering Kickstarters already, right? We have a lot of, well, not just Kickstarters, crowdfunding in general. I call it Kickstarters as a habit, but crowdfunding games. Specifically, a channel that I really enjoy watching weekly, and I've been watching for a long time, is going to be Shelf Clutter. And Adam over there at Shelf Clutter does a really good video every week. Please check out his videos. I'll have a link down in the description below to his channel, and you can just check it out. And if you're looking for Kickstarter weekly Kickstarter coverage, that's going to be the place to go. I unfortunately will not be covering Kickstarters, specifically crowdfunding campaigns like that, weekly or monthly or bi-weekly. We're sticking more to the retail side of things when it comes to the weekly coverage. And my apologies about that. Let's get this video going and let's show off some games. First things first, coming out April 10th is going to be Chucky, It's Time to Play to the End, the Chucky game, as stated here on their store. This game comes out April 10th, and it is a game by Trick or Treat Studios. Trick or Treat Studios has released a bunch of titles, and the titles usually go around like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, different horror horror IPs. This is one of their games, Chucky. It's time to play to the end. If you don't know about Chucky, real quick, it's a horror movie that came out back in the 90s. I think 90s, I want to say. Child's Play came out. I might be off there. It's 90s or early 2000s. I was terrified of these movies when I was a kid. I was extremely scared. It was just kind of a thing. Growing up, though, I am a big horror fan now. I love watching the movies. I love playing horror games, reading books about horror with themed in horror. And that's kind of a big thing. So this is one of the games that I think is really interesting that they're reaching into this AP. This specific game is going to be a investigation style game. However, in the game itself, you are playing a competitive game. No one is cooperative. You're not trying to solve a specific mystery. However, you're going to be putting your tokens onto different action spaces, and they're your time tokens. Whoever has the more gets to take over that specific resource, and you get the specific resource from that space. When you're doing this, your goal is to basically collect resources to solve and investigate what happened or what's going on in the board game. And in the process, you might get an encounter with Chucky, the possessed evil doll, and you're gonna have to fend off, of course, and try to do so with your resources and different things you've collected. That's kind of a really brief overview about the game. It's I would love to see kind of this like theme of game kind of take it into like a cooperative space, like you versus Chucky or vice versa. Even like putting like a almost like, I don't know, like a Chucky versus like one versus all kind of game. That would be pretty cool. I would like to see that. However, let's talk about this. Continue talking about this game. That's the gist of it. After 3 rounds, the player who did the best overcoming all the challenges they're coming up with usually is the winner. And the challenges are about rolling dice. That's one thing I'm kind of iffy about. I'm not big on just pure dice rolling all the time in terms of when you're playing the game. Just too much luck, and there are ways to mitigate that a little bit, but I just kind of, that's what I question about games like this. However, this is Chucky. This is going to be Chucky. It's Time to Play to the End. It's a Chucky game coming out on April 10th by Trick or Treat Studios. Moving on to City of the Living, coming out to you on April 10th by Trick or Treat Studios. Another game by Trick or Treat, and this game specifically is going to be a zombie apocalypse survival style game. In this game, you have your competitor. It's a competitive game. You have your other players who are all running their own city. If you look on their player boards here, this game, interesting enough, I just wonder where like it came from a little bit. Reiner Knizia apparently helped design this game, and that's fairly interesting. I never imagined Reiner to make a zombie apocalypse game. But when it comes to the themes, you introduce, usually when board games are being pitched to publishing companies and the designer pitches it, they typically just pitch the game itself, right? And they pitch a mechanic of some sort, and then from there they kind of like start plastering themes on top of it somehow and change it up to something else. So in this game, it's a tableau building game. You're going to have tiles you're going to be flipping over. You're going to use these tiles to activate specific scoring objectives or scoring objectives or things to score with, right? And you're going to be lining up on your city. You're building your city out. As you go through, you're going to be taking an action, and in your actions, you're going to be using those to survive. Have that be collecting fuel, defending off zombies, all that such. And at the end of the game, whoever did the best job doing so wins. Pretty cool stuff. I think it's interesting. I want to try it out. I like it. I just think I don't think I've seen a really too many really good zombie survival games or zombie apocalypse games besides when you like Zombicide, I guess, which is like more of like a dungeon crawler, I would call it almost, the more so. So I'm kind of curious. I'm curious to see where this goes because it's almost like a like a tableau building zombie game. I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool. I hope they expand more on this only because I read the rule book and I want to see more. But this is City of the Living by Trick or Treat Studios coming out to you on April 10th. Coming up next is going to be Now, a party game coming out to you on April 10th by Scorpion Mask and Randolph Games. And also Hachette as well would be helping them distribute. This is going to be Now. It's a party game. At heart, it's a party game. And it's a side game you play simultaneously. In this game itself, you're going to have cards in the middle and their specific numbers. You're going to be going through your deck. And as you go through your deck, you're going to be finding a specific card. And the card has to have the closest number to the numbers in the center. That's your entire goal, right? And as you're going through, you have to be careful. You don't want to deck out and get rid of all your cards. At the same time, you want to get close and scream now, saying that you have made it to, you think you have the closest number to the cards in the middle. For example, here they have a 14, and here's like a 16. That's 2 away. And then compared to the rest, of course, and there's different scoring conditions you go through. That's the whole gist of the game. It's a party game, very straightforward. I'm not going to go too more deep into it. That's going to be Now by Scorpion Mask and Randolph, coming out to you on April 10th. Moving on to Word Traveler, coming out to you on April 12th by Office Dog Games. This is going to be a party game with words, of course. I have been playing so many party games with some type of word mechanic in it, correct? So I played so many lately. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how this one goes. In this specific one, it's a cooperative party game, and you're going to be having words, and you're trying to get to the closest to a specific word and condition by using these arrows, right? Using these arrows as you go through and trying to find out the word or the key destination as you go. If you win or lose, you collect the golden souvenirs. It's a cooperative game. I like it because I think it goes a little bit into like a little bit of a deduction side of things from what I'm looking at. And you don't get a lot of those style of games that play quickly usually. And I have a lot of great deduction games that I love so much. Not just social, but just deduction in general. That's the gist of it. You're going to have clues that tell you to which direction to go. You're going to try to find the closest word to the clue and guess correctly. You get a point for doing so. This kind of the scoring condition in the cooperative experience reminds me of Just One, just completely different gameplay as a whole. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to go too more deeper into it. It's just a party game. You play it through, you guess the clue based on the direction of the arrows, and you try to find out what the closest word is associated with the correct word, and then you guess and you win, and you get a golden souvenir. And I'm assuming there's scoring as well. This is Word Traveler coming out to you on April 12th by Office Dog Games. Thank you. We have made it into the end of the video. I almost started there. We made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching the whole video. I appreciate that. That helps the channel so much. And we got to talk about some pretty cool games. Let me know in the comments below, what game are you going to pick it up this week? Is it one we mentioned here? Maybe one you've been saving up money for? Maybe one you've been eyeballing at the game store and you're finally ready to pick it up because your shelf has an empty space for it? Let me know. I'd love to know in the comments below. I appreciate you for watching the video. Thank you and have a good one.